Great. So we're making our way to our mats, and we're going to have our mat horizontal or parallel to the camera. That'll allow us, I think, less having to move around or change our direction. So I'm going to invite you all to lie down, lie back on your mat. And when you lie back, if it's more comfortable to have something under your head, go ahead and place something under your head, supporting your head so it doesn't, your chin doesn't tip up. Your arms can be anywhere comfortably at your side. And just allow the weight of your feet to be planted firmly onto the mat. Feel the weight of your low back, the back of the ribs, the back of the shoulders, the back of the head, releasing into the floor. Feel the connection that you have to the ground beneath you. And then just begin to connect with your breathing. So bring your full awareness to the feeling of your breath as it's moving into your body and as it's emptying out of your body. So we're going to slow down the breathing and take a nice full deep breath in and allow that breath to empty all the way out. So for now, the in-breath and the out-breath are both full and deep. You're really feeling a fullness of breath expanding into your lungs, letting the ribs move with that deep inhale. And then we're allowing the breath, whatever time it takes, to completely empty and release. Till there's just no more breath. The breath is gone, emptied out. And then that creates all this space for a nice full deep breath in. And then that nice full release, just let it go. Rather than forcing it out, pushing it out, we're just letting it empty. So as we breathe in deeply, can you feel the freshness, the energetic quality, the energy moving into you, expanding into your body? And then the exhale is just a relaxing letting go. So a few more rounds of this very deep breathing, really focusing our full awareness on what it feels like to draw fresh energy in and let it expand out into the whole body. And then how it feels when that breath lets go, releases, and empties. 2 more deep breaths like that. As if you've cleaned your body out, that coolness, freshness of the in-breath, it just creates fresh, clean energy throughout you. And then that exhale is taking all the unnecessary, stale stuff you don't need and letting it release and empty. Great. So that practice of breathing deeply really draws your attention to what you're doing, right? You're really focused on this breathing. So let's do the same thing as we begin our movement practice. We're going to notice how it feels to take our feet off the floor. And if you hug, or as you hug your knees in, just notice how it feels to gently sway side to side. Just get a little looseness in your low back. You're hugging, you're feeling the hands on the knees. You're feeling the back being massaged on the floor. And you're enjoying this experience of holding yourself with your hands. Great. All right, let's take the legs up in the air And with your hands, kind of push your legs away, but with your legs, press back. So your hands are pushing your legs away, your legs are resisting back. So suddenly your arms are working, your legs are working, and your core is contracting as well. So there's energy in lots of directions. And then let your arms fall to your side and just alternate flexing and pointing your feet. So you're just starting to loosen up, wake up your legs. You can wiggle your toes. Let's circle at the ankles in one direction and circle the other way. Nice. Take your hands and hold the sides of your legs and allow your legs to drop open. So your hands can be supporting as the legs drop open, if that feels best, or your hands could go to the inside and press a little more so you get a little deeper stretch along the inner line of the legs. Flex your feet as you're here, point your toes, circle your ankles around. You might be supporting the legs, you might be opening them up. And then bend your knees with your hands, guide your knees back together. Yeah. Take your arms out wide like a T, kind of tabletop your legs, and let your legs, your knees drop slightly over to one side. Doesn't matter which side. Keep your opposite shoulder on the floor. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, bring the knees back. And then let the knees drop partway over to the other side. Decide how far you want to go. Opposite shoulders on the floor. Take a breath. With your exhale, bring the knees back up. So just explore. How far can your knees go to one side and the opposite shoulder stay down? Then take a breath and bring those knees back. Let the knees drop over to the other side. Take a breath and bring the knees back. We can continue doing that with knees bent. We could try it with straight legs, letting the legs drop over to one side, opposite shoulders down. We'll take a breath and exhale back up. You could have bent knees or straight legs as they drop over to the other side, taking a breath and exhaling back up. Let's do that one more time. Your knees might be bent, your legs might be straight, taking them over to one side. We're working this opposite side waist and pulling the legs back up and then over to the other side, holding them there, taking a breath, and then bringing them back up. Legs stay up in the air. We're going to bring our arms down at our side, but try not to push the arms down. We're just going to have them here. Can you start to curl your hips up a little bit off the floor and then release them out? So think about curling and lifting the hips and then rolling them back down. So the tendency here is to kind of pull with your neck or your jaw. I'm feeling that tension in my own body. So can we relax the neck and the throat and just work from the strength of the low belly to lift the hips up? Try not to push down with your arms. Try to lift with your lower abdominal muscles. Curling up and coming out. Now we're going to bend the knees again. And I want you to just tap a toe to the floor and bring it back up. And tap a toe to the floor and bring it back up. So if your toe is close to your body, it's going to be easy to keep the back from arching. There's going to be some engagement in the lower abdominals. And we're going to try not to let the back arch. So then, can you take your toe a little further away from you and still maintain that support of the low back, not arching off the floor? So we're keeping a neutral spine as the toe is tapping out. Could you take your toe even further away? You might just drop your heel down as the leg gets further away rather than the toe. And we're trying to maintain stability in the trunk, in the pelvis. And then maybe you take that leg and you extend out through the heel without touching. So your toe could be touching closer to the body. The leg could be extending further out. Let's do one more like this. And then as the knee comes in, let your feet come down. Lift your head up, clasp your hands beneath your head. If you've got something under your head, let it move away. Let the weight of your head rest into your hands, your elbows wide. Take a breath in Exhale and just draw your low ribs in to lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Look between your legs and then inhale back. Just a few more like that to wake up the upper abdominals, lifting up and releasing back. Exhaling, low ribs pull in as we curl up, back of the low ribs press into the floor. A couple more like this. Upper abdominals lifting, pulling in. Last one here. Can you stay up? Can you lift a little higher? And then release all the way down. Let's roll to the side now, facing towards me. And we're going to come up onto this bottom forearm with the elbow right beneath the shoulder. We'll have the legs kind of on an angle, so they're not totally facing the camera. They're kind of on an angle. Top hand on the hip, knees are stacked. We're just going to lift our hips off the floor. So the knee, the shin are pressing down. The forearm is pressing down, so there's some activation in the shoulder muscle here. Could you lift your hips a little higher? And then coming down, can you come close to the floor without touching? And then lift up again, and then lower down. So we're really firing up the side waist. Where do you feel this? Notice where you're working to lift the hips. There's work in the arm, providing that support. But can you feel this bottom side waist lifting you up? Let's do a few more of these. We can be inhaling as we go up, exhaling as we go down. This next time we come up, we'll stay up and maybe lift a little higher. Good work. And then come down. We're going to swing our legs out in front so that we can just shift to the other side. So same thing on this side. Weight is on the bottom forearm, shoulder over the elbow, knees on an angle, top hand on the hip. We'll push the knee and shin down to lift up. And then could you lift a little higher? Can you feel how that side waist kicks in? And then as we lower down, you could drop to the floor, but could you come close to the floor? And then press back up. And then come close to the floor and press back up. And do that a few more times. Dropping down and lifting up. You're pushing into this forearm, but you're lifting up from that bottom side waist. Down and lift, and down and lift. The next time you come up, stay up there. Could you lift a little higher? Take a breath. Great. And then come all the way down. Let's make our way to all fours. So we begin to feel our hands on the floor now. So feel the energy of your hands. There's so many nerve endings in the hand, so we can really feel what it feels like to be connected to the ground. Feel your knees on the floor. Feel your spine here nice and long. Just kind of move your hips side to side, move your shoulders. And then as you come center, get nice and long from tail to crown. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, round your back, drop your tail, round through your spine, draw your belly in, drop your head, push into your hands. Then come to your flat back. As you inhale, start to arch your back, lift your tail, draw your heart forward, extend your spine. And just move between these two positions on your own, in your own way, in a way that invites just a feeling of mobility, freedom, kind of loosening up your spine, taking it through this range of motion, flexion, extension, rounding and arching. You could add a little side to side or lateral movement if you like. Just do what feels good here with a couple more breaths. And then make your way back to flat back. Take your hands now a little closer to your knees and roll onto the back of your hands. Just there's not a lot of weight here, but you can kind of press the back of your hands down. So your fingertips point towards your knees, the palms point towards the ceiling. And you know, you could put very little weight, you could put a little more weight, you could straighten your arms if that feels good. Just getting a stretch into the forearm, the wrist. Could you turn your hands to face each other and do the same thing? So rather than your fingers pointing towards your knees, your palms are facing. Could you turn your hands so your fingers face forward? And maybe your elbows are bent, maybe your arms are more straight, whatever feels good here. And could you even come up onto fists as you're here, pushing down? Great, so just kind of strengthening the wrists a little bit. And then come back to having your hands beneath your shoulders. Let's take one leg and press back through the heel. Notice as you do this, if you've dropped your belly or arched your back, create a little tone in the belly to support that. So press out through your heel, pull your toes to the floor. Energy through the leg and out through the heel, active leg here now. And then take your opposite arm and reach it forward. Nice long line, everything parallel to the floor. Take a deep breath in here as you feel energy from fingertip to heel. And then we're going to start to bend. So the arm is going to bend out to the side like a right angle, right? And then the knee is going to bend out to the side like a right angle as well. And could we get the leg and the arm parallel to the floor? Take a breath here, and then take the leg back, take the arm out, take another breath here, really stretching out through the heel, reaching forward with the fingertips, and then release that hand and knee down. Reground through your hands. When you're ready, reach the other leg back, press back through the heel, strong active leg. No dropping of the belly, strong through your midsection. Reach your opposite arm out in front. Strong, long energy, fingers to toes. Take a breath here. Take that arm out to the side, right angle, palm to the floor. Take the knee out to the side, right angle, trying to get that leg parallel to the floor. Take a breath, and then reach the leg back, reach the arm forward. Take one more breath here, and then release the hand, release the knee. Nice. Let's sit back on our heels, round over the legs, let the forehead drop onto the hands, and feel the breath moving into the back body. Feel the breath expanding into the back of your lungs, and allow the breath to empty out. One more time here. Deep breath into the back of the ribs. Exhale, emptying out. Then with our next inhale, we'll lift our heads up and reach our arms way out in front. Hands wide as shoulders or a little wider. Coming onto knees, we'll curl the toes under, and let's come up to downward facing dog. So hands pressing down firmly into the floor. Feel the energy. You push your hands down, that firms up the arms. Bend your knees a bit, take your hips way up and back. Feel your spine lengthening here. We can create space across the upper back. Just create a little stretch between your shoulder blades here. And then bend one knee and push a heel to the floor. Bend that knee and push the other heel to the floor. Just get a nice stretch through the lower leg, calf and ankle. Then bending both knees a bit, or a lot, whatever feels right for you. Can you really keep your hands planted and pull those hips way up and back? Nice big deep stretch. Deep breath in and out here. And then let's walk our hands back towards our feet. Heels come down. We end up folded over the legs. Take a deep breath into your upper back. As you exhale, draw your belly in. Start to roll yourself up. Start to slowly, gradually come up. Just letting your spine slowly, gradually unfurl, one vertebra stacking on top of the one beneath it. Slowly, gradually, eventually bringing your head up. Once your head is up, turn and face towards me. So as we're here, I'm going to invite you again to focus on your breathing. And as you breathe in, I want you to try to direct your breath into your upper back, into the area between your shoulder blades. So take a big breath into the area of your shoulder blades. And as you exhale, I want you to think about letting the exhale help you to knit your ribs, your low ribs, down and in. So the in-breath is expanding into your upper back. Your exhale is knitting your low ribs in and down. So this action of expanding here and then knitting here kind of has this maybe a feeling of kind of pulling your heart forward. So we're going to take a deep breath into the upper back. And then we're going to exhale to knit the ribs. But as you knit the ribs, can you lift your heart? So these are pulling down, but this is pulling up. Yeah, big breath into your upper back. Exhale, knit the ribs, but let the heart pull up. Okay, we're going to do this with a little arm motion. So I want you to take a deep breath into your upper back. And as you exhale and knit your ribs, I want you to lift your arms up. So the ribs are knitting down, but the arms are lifting up and the heart is lifting up. And then we're going to inhale to release the arms down. So it's different than we normally do. And as we exhale, we're going to knit the ribs in and down as we lift the chest up, the shoulders, the heart. And then inhale, releasing the arms down. This has the potential to actually loosen up the muscles in the chest and upper back. Exhale, knit the ribs, lift the arms, lift the sternum. Inhale into the upper back. One more time. Exhaling, knitting the ribs and lifting the arms up, lifting the sternum. And then inhaling into the upper back. Great. All right, take your feet up fairly wide apart. Not warrior stance, but heels wider than hips, toes turned out. We'll do a little bit of sumo. So we're going to take the hips back and take the knees forward. Getting those knees tracking in the same direction as the toes, letting the hips go way back, but keeping the heart up. Maybe you go a little deeper into this sumo squat and then come back up. So let's do a number of these. As you're doing this, can you feel your feet really planted? Can you push the feet down as you come up? So the hips go back and the feet push down to bring you up. Yeah, so we're not pulling ourselves up with the upper body. We're pushing ourselves up from the feet pressing into the floor. So this time we'll come down. We'll stay here for a bit. Let's lift the right heel up nice and high. We're going to lower it for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, down. We'll lift the left heel up real high and lower it slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, down. Let's lift both heels up real high and slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2. I want you to touch your heels and lift them up again. And same thing, lower. 5, 4. We're strengthening the arches of the feet. Now get your heels down on the floor and then lift your heels just a teeny bit so they're close to the floor. And then with that slight heel raise, straighten your legs up. And you could put your heels back down, or could you keep those heels just slightly lifted and come back into your squat, hips back, chest lifted, knees out. With those heels slightly lifted, straightening up again. If you need to put your heels down, that's okay. Otherwise, with that slight heel raise, knees forward, hips back. One more time, coming up. And then heels go down. Nice work. All right, let's make our way to the front of our mat. We're gonna stand nice and rooted. So just like we were feeling our hands on the floor before, can you feel all the nerve fibers of your feet? Feeling the ground, feel your toes, feel the balls of your feet, the sides of your feet, the heels of your feet. Maybe bend your knees a little bit and then push down to straighten up. So our elegant upright posture arises from the grounding of the feet, connected to the ground. So we root down to stand tall. Let's take the arms out wide, broaden across the chest and back. And then let's reach the arms up. Feel the ribs and shoulders lifting. So we can stretch straight up. We might even arch back a little bit. Big breath here. And then sweep the arms out, swan dive forward. So we're hinging from the hips as we drop into a forward fold. Feeling the weight of the arms, the weight of the head here. Knees can be soft here. Let's bend the knees so much that our hands come to the floor and we'll step our feet back to downward facing dog. So again, grounding through the hands now. Push them down, lift the hips up and back. Take a big breath here. And if you feel like your shoulder blades are kind of squeezing in towards each other, create some space between them. Just broaden out. You can kind of think of rolling your arms out a little bit here for a little more space across your upper back. So take a breath here. As you exhale, bring the shoulders forward over the wrists, lower the hips down into plank pose. As we make our way to plank pose, we know we can always drop our knees down if that's better for us. So knees down or knees up, but we're nice and long from knees to ears or from ankles to ears, nice long line. Feeling the strength in the arms, the support in the belly. We're not letting the hips drop. We're keeping them supported with our core muscles. We're going to try a little bend in the elbows, elbows pointing back towards the feet. You're welcome to drop to knees here as you do this, or you can keep them lifted. When the elbows bend, sometimes we lose that support. Keep that support here. Now let's straighten the arms and pull up and back to down dog. Take a breath here. Exhale back to straight arm plank. Holding here, knees up or knees down, trying that little bend in the elbows. Take another breath. And then you might drop to knees to lower to the floor, or you just lower to the floor. As we come down, tops of the feet come on the floor, heels of the hands slide back so the chest can sink. Hover your head, nose is close to the floor. Lift the chin and the nose slightly so you're looking down, crown of the head forward, toes reaching back. Weight in the tops of the feet, weight in the front of the hips. Can we pull the sternum forward as we press the heel of the hands back and start to lift the chest up into baby cobra? And then we'll lower back down. So let's do that with an in-breath. Toes reach back as the heart pulls forward. Inhale to baby cobra and exhale back down. So baby cobra, we're lifting with the muscles of the upper back. So hands can lift off the floor. Let's do that. And we're still staying up. Could we lift the elbows toward the ceiling and maybe even squeeze the shoulders in a little bit just to activate those muscles? And then hands come down, chest comes down. This time with hands on the floor, we'll inhale up to baby cobra and we can stay here or push down and come up to cobra. Hips down, heart pulls forward. Exhale to lower. Let's push up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees, and then take the hips way up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then look a little forward. Let's walk the feet up toward the hands this time, planting the feet beneath us. We're going to bend the knees and lower the hips. Bring hands to heart. Keep the hips low, but lift the chest up. We'll reach the arms forward so that we can sit back a bit more. And then let's push into the feet and legs. Inhale and reach up. Exhale, releasing arms down at our side. Great. So if we're not at the front of the mat, we might step up to the front of the mat. We're going to root down through those feet. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Lengthen and lift. Exhale and swan dive forward. Fold it over. Bring our hands to the floor. Step the feet back to downward facing dog. Grounding through the hands. Feel the length in your spine as the hips draw up and back. Breathe in. Exhale to straight arm plank. Are you feeling the energy, the strength in your body? Take a breath here. Exhale, little bend in the elbows. You could be on your knees here. Take another breath. Exhale and lower yourself down. Get nice and long, toes to crown. Inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. Make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Look a little forward, walk your feet up toward your hands, plant your feet beneath you. And this time we'll reverse swan dive. Sweep the arms out. Inhale and rise up, reach up. Exhale, arms down at your side. Great. Standing close to the front of the mat once again. Reach the arms out and up as you breathe in. Exhale and swan dive forward. Bring your hands to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Exhale to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale and make your way down onto belly. As we're here now, we're going to just focus on the legs for a moment. So you can put one arm on top of the other and rest your head on that pillow. Or if it's more comfortable, you could turn your head to one side. So the upper body is relaxed. I want you to take one foot, doesn't matter which one, press the top of your foot into the floor. And that should fire up the muscles in the back of the leg. Then bend that knee. So the foot faces the ceiling. You can flex your foot. So the foot faces the ceiling. Imagine you're balancing a platter on your foot. So now press the front of that hip down and lift that leg up in the air. It's like you're serving a platter up toward the ceiling. So to lift that leg up, you're working the back of that thigh, the hamstring. Now really imagine showing off that muscle like you do if you were showing off your bicep. Fire up that muscle to hold the leg up, and keeping the thigh lifted, start to extend that leg back, 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 until you're holding that straight leg up with a very strong engaged hamstring. Take a breath in, and then relax that leg down. We'll do that with the other leg. Bend the knee so the foot faces the ceiling. Your foot is flexed. Press the front of that hip down to lift the leg up. You're serving a platter up toward the ceiling. Show off a nice, strong, engaged hamstring muscle. So activate it and start to extend that leg back, 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 back. You might point your toe here. Now you're holding that leg up with a strong, engaged hamstring. Take a breath and then lower that leg down. Nice work. Let's hover the head now and bring our arms alongside the body. Fingertips reaching back towards the toes, palms to the ceiling. So we're going to press the front of the hips down now and lift both legs up, just like we did one at a time. Nice, strong legs. And then reaching back, we'll lift the chest up. So we're working the whole back line of the body here in locust pose. Could you lift the legs a bit more? Could you pull the heart forward, lift the chest a bit more? Could you just hold here, getting longer from toes to sternum? Or could you create more length or more lift with one more breath? And then exhale and release. Nice job. Bring your hands next to chest. Let's push back to knees. Take the hips all the way back. We're gonna sit back into child's pose. So weight is on the heels, rounding over the legs, forehead releasing onto the floor or onto your bent arms. Take a few breaths here. Deep breaths in and out. Those back bends are very energizing. And then we kind of balance that with some forward bending to come back to that calm, centered state. Then with your next inhale, lift your head up, reach your arms way out in front, come onto knees, curl the toes under, come up to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. So our feet in down dog are about the width of our hips. So we'll leave one foot there, take one leg up in the air. Doesn't matter which leg. Now the leg could be more straight back, or it could be up nice and high. Could you lift the hip up a little higher and then bend your knee so your heel drops towards your bum? And then lift that knee a little higher. You might even turn the hip out to the side and let the heel drop over. Whatever feels right for you. Take a breath here. Now take that bent knee and pull it up towards your chin. Lift up with the knee, lift up with the heel. Feel your belly working to lift that leg. Then, if this is too much for you, you could drop onto one knee and step the foot out in front, or you're just going to step that foot out in front. So we come into a low lunge. So however you get here, get into your low lunge. Your feet are as wide as your hips, and the back heel is lifted. Now you could keep the back heel lifted as we rise up. You could plant the back heel for more support if you like. We're going to lift the chest up. So we're going to keep the front knee bent. And now if you can, lift your back heel. Turn your hips to face the short end of your mat. If that back heel is planted, that's okay. This hip will be further back. If that back heel is lifted, we're going to turn both hips towards the short line of our mat. So could we bend into the front knee a bit more, really feeling that front foot planted, and then push that foot down to straighten the front leg. Let's get our shoulders over our hips, and we're going to bend the front knee forward. We're going to push that foot down to straighten that front leg. Bend the front knee forward. Push the foot into the floor to straighten that leg. A few more like that. Bending the knee. Pushing down to straighten. We'll inhale here. We'll exhale to bend. One more time. Push the foot to straighten the leg. Bend the knee. So the knee is bent. The knee and shin energy is going forward. But that same sitting bone can be pulling back. And the back heel is pressing back as we start to lift the heart up. We could stay just like this with hands on hips, or drop the arms down, reach them out, and inhale, arms, shoulders, ribs lifting up. Maybe even the gaze goes up a bit. Take a breath here. And then with the exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. You can drop to knees or just step back into downward facing dog, breathing in and out. You could take a break here in down dog, or take a break on your knees, or we can flow again into straight arm plank, lowering all the way down, prone mountain. We can inhale up to baby cobra or cobra, and exhale back down, and make our way up and back to downward facing dog. So now you have to remember which leg you did before. We're going to lift the other leg up, and it might be low, it might be high. Could you lift it a little higher? And then let the knee bend, let the heel drop towards your bum. And maybe even open that hip out to the side a bit more, if that feels like a nice stretch for you. Take a breath here. And then take that bent knee and see if you can pull it up and in towards your armpit. Lift the knee up, lift the heel up. Feel your belly engage. So again, you could drop onto the back knee and step that foot forward, or maybe you can just step that foot out in front. Get into a low lunge here. Feet as wide as hips. You could just rise up with your heel lifted. You might plant your back heel as you bring your upper body upright. You might want that back heel down, or maybe you can lift that heel so that you square your hips to the short line of your mat. Can we bend into that front foot, that front knee a little more, really getting weight into the front foot, and then push that foot down to straighten the front leg. So we're going to bend the knee and then push into that foot to straighten the leg. Bend the front knee, push down to straighten the leg. A couple more like this, bending, pushing down to straighten. Again, bend, push to straighten. This time we're going to bend the front knee, keeping it bent. Energy of the knee and shin moving forward, energy of that same sitting bone pulling back. Energy of the back heel pressing back as we lift the heart up. We could just be here, hands on hips, or arms dropping down. We can reach them out and up. Lifting up through the ribs, through the shoulders. Big breath in as we stretch up. And then exhale the hands all the way down to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. Great. All right, we're going to flow once again. You're welcome to take a break if you'd like. Otherwise, straight arm plank. You could drop to knees as we lower ourselves down. We'll inhale up to baby cobra or cobra and exhale back down and make our way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. Let's look forward, walk our feet up towards our hands, plant our feet beneath us, fold it over, and we'll sweep the arms out. Inhale and rise up, reach up. Exhaling, arms down at our side. Great. We're going to turn this way, coming into a wide stance. So again, energy flows from the feet down all the way up into the body. We're going to turn the left foot in and turn the right foot out. With hands on hips, let's press the back foot down and then bend the front knee, and then press the front foot down to straighten that leg. So can we keep shoulders over hips as we bend the front knee, push the foot down to straighten the leg. Bend the front knee, push down to straighten. This time, bend the front knee, stay here, and with movement coming from the hips, tip the hips over. So don't let your head take you. Let the hips take you over. Let this arm come to rest on this leg. So a lot of weight pours into this front foot, but we still have a lot of energy pressing down through the back foot. Let's take this top arm out in front, and we're going to sweep it overhead, rolling the thumb to the ceiling, pinky down. So it's like that arm rolls down. And then roll the belly and chest towards the camera, towards where you're facing. Reach long through that arm. Take a breath. With your exhale, release your head to look down at the floor. Release your neck. Take that arm that's reaching overhead now. Reach long as you breathe in. Then sweep that arm down in front. Let it reach back behind you. Push into your front leg. Rise up. Proud warrior. Can you broaden out from shoulder to shoulder? Reach out from fingertip to fingertip. Feel your spine nice and tall. Take a breath here. Exhale the back hand on the back leg. Turn your right palm up. Inhale that arm reaching up. Back hand slides down, top arm reaches up. Take a breath here. Exhale, let that top arm drop out. Lift your back arm up, palms drop toward the floor, broaden through the chest and back. Big breath here. And exhale and relax. Straighten that front leg, turn the feet forward, then go to the other side, turn the right foot in, turn the left foot out, hands on your hips, push the back foot down, and then bend the front knee. Push this foot down to straighten that leg. So bend the knee, push down to straighten, bend the knee, push to straighten. This time bend the knee, keep the knee bent. From the hips, tipping over. Bottom arm comes to rest on the bottom leg. Other arm reaches forward. Let's sweep that arm over alongside the cheek or the ear. Thumb to the ceiling, pinky down. So that kind of rolls the arm down a little bit. Then roll the belly and chest towards where you're facing. Reach long through that arm as you breathe in. Then release your head to look down at the floor. Release your neck. Take a breath here, reaching overhead. Then sweep that arm down in front of you. Let it reach back behind you. Push into the front leg to straighten yourself up. Broaden across your chest and back. Take a breath here. Strength, energy. Exhale your back hand on your back leg. Turn your left palm up. Inhale that arm up as the back arm drops back. Big breath here. And then come back to Proud Warrior. So top arm drops down, back arm reaches up. Broaden, lengthen, take a breath. Relax your arms. Push this foot down to straighten the front leg. Turn the feet forward. Bring your feet together. Coming to stand center. Nice work. Let's make our way all the way down to the floor. We're going to sit in the middle of the mat. Take your hands behind you. Separate your legs. Have your feet wider than your hips. Roll to the sides of your feet so your knees drop to one side. And then bring them up. Roll to the other sides of your feet so your knees drop the other way. And then bring them back up. Roll to the first side, and at this time we're going to let the knees come all the way down, so back hand comes off the floor. Let your knees come all the way to the floor. I'll move back a little so you maybe can see me better. So you might have a tight angle, you might widen the angle of your legs. Swing around so you're facing your front bent knee, and bring your chest down over that leg. Bring your forearms to the floor, fold over that leg, and just get a nice big stretch into that hip. Breathe in and out. One more time. And then lift your head up. Can you bring your hands down and push that knee down to bring your chest up? Roll back so your hand reaches back. Bring your knees up and then roll your knees to the other side. Bring the back hand around. Both knees come to the floor. You could have a tight angle. You could have a wider angle. Come around to face the front knee. Bring the weight of your chest over that front thigh, that front knee. Bring your forearms to the floor. Fold over. So it's a nice grounded, supported pigeon pose here. Breathe into that front hip. Let the breath empty. Do that again. Then lift your head up, bring your hands down, push your chest up, lean back, bring your knees up. So just to try to get a little more action or mobility in the hips, could you drop your knees to one side? Now, if this doesn't feel good for your hips, just straighten your legs out and stretch your legs out. If this feels like it's nice movement to create a little more functionality a little more activation, a little more strength in your hips. You're just going to let the hips go side to side. And you could do this with your arms behind you, or could you do it just using the muscles of your hips, the muscles of your core, and let the knees go side to side without your arms behind. So just do that a few more times. Just kind of play around with this. Not everybody's hips can move in this way, so if you're like, this doesn't feel right for my body, then listen to that. This may not be right for everyone's hip structure. All right, great. Lean back. Go ahead and straighten your legs out in front. Stretch them out a little bit. Nice. All right, we're going to make our way to lying down again. So you can have what you need nearby for our Shavasana, although we'll do a few things before we move into our final relaxation. But if you like that blanket under your head, go ahead and set it up, or a pillow, whatever. And then we're going to roll down. Let's roll down gradually. So you might grab onto the backs of the legs. You might have your arms forward. We're going to just take a breath in, and then we're going to just let ourselves roll down nice and slowly, easy, gradually, making our way down. Once we're down, we can straighten the legs out, reach the arms overhead, take a nice big long stretch, fingers to toes, big breath in here. Nice. And then the arms can come up. You can slide the legs in. Let's actually just slide the right leg in and give the right leg a hug. And then we'll let the left leg be straight. So the left leg that's on the floor, I want it to be loose. So you might wiggle your foot side to side or bounce your knee a few times. Get that bottom left leg just relaxed, heavy, loose into the floor. As you hug your right knee in close, and then as you take that leg up in the air, reach around and grab behind the thigh. Press the leg into your hand. So the leg moves a little further away. So it has the potential to be a little more straight. It doesn't have to be totally straight, but as straight as you can, start to push your heel up, pull the toes towards you. Press into that heel. Again, energy out through your heel. So you're feeling this line of energy all along the back of the leg as your toes pull towards you. Take a breath here. Exhale and point the toe. Do that again. Inhale and flex. Exhale and point. Good. Relax the ankle. Just pull the knee in close. Give it a hug. Then with that right hand, open that knee out to the side. Just take it out. Open it up. Take a breath. Keep that left thigh loose and heavy. Then bring the knee back and release that foot down. Let's change legs. Slide the left leg in, give that knee a hug. Slide the right leg out and just let that leg be loose and floppy. Wiggle your foot, bounce the leg, let it relax. Think of it as being quite heavy. And with the heaviness in that straight leg, hug the other knee in close. Then lift the leg up in the air, hold behind the thigh, push the heel up. Try not to have the leg too close. Let it be a little further away so that it can be a little more straight. So you can push the heel up, pull the toes towards you, then stretch out through the toes. Do that again. Flex and point. And then let the knee bend. Give it a hug. Keeping that straight leg heavy, open that bent knee out to the side. Big breath here. And then let it come back. Release that foot to the floor. And now we're going to transition to our final relaxation. So at this point, you might, again, put something under your head. You might put on a layer, some socks or a blanket over you. You might put something under your knees so that the bend in your knees provides a little support for your low back. So what could you offer yourself to allow yourself to be most comfortable? That's what we want to have here now. You're setting yourself up to be able to allow yourself to relax. That's what we want. So you're going to lie back. And once you're comfortable, you might choose to let your eyes close. And you're just letting the weight of the body soften and settle now. We were paying attention. We were working and focusing. And now we're going to let all instruction go. We're going to let go of the need to do any particular thing or be any particular way. And we'll just allow the body to be as it is, as it rests back. Letting the weight of the arms and legs release into the floor. Letting the whole weight of the torso, the hips and belly, chest and shoulders, release into the floor. Letting the whole weight of the head drop back. And letting the muscles soften, loosen, relax, and release. As the body is relaxing, let the mind rest as well. Let yourself be as you are. Here now. As you continue lying back, I'm going to share with you a reading from Danna Faulds. This is what I have to say to you. Do not let the day slip through your fingers, but live it fully now. This breath, this glimpse of newly risen sun catapulting you into full awareness. Time is precious. Minutes disappear like water into sand unless you choose to pay attention. Since you do not know the number of your days, treat each as if it is your last. Be that compassionate with yourself, that open and loving to others, that determined to give what is yours to give, and to let in the energy and wonder of this world. If you are tempted by complacency to miss the gift of twin fawns in the yard, or a towhee scratching at the feeder, choose to be awake instead. Experience everything. Writing, relating, eating, doing all the necessary little tasks of life as if for the first time, pushing nothing aside as unimportant. You have received these same instructions many times before. This time, take them into your soul. For if you choose to live this way, you will be rich beyond measure, grateful beyond words, and the day of your death will arrive with no regrets. So with that very inspiring reading, we can start to transition back, making your way up in your own time, in your own way. And it's always a joy to be with all of you. And you can come back and say hello and chat a bit more. You can turn your video on if you like. If you need to go, I totally understand. And thanks for being here. But nice to be with you all today.